today with Paige Lathrop. Lathrop? Is that
Lathrop.
how Lathrop? Okay. We are going to talk to her about her story, but we want to preface again why we are doing this on Giving Tuesday, because Giving Tuesday is a day where a lot of nonprofits want to bring awareness to what they do and who they serve and what their mission is. And that is what Healing Strong is doing with these stories today. We want you to know who is inside the organization, who is thriving, who is currently healing, who we are serving, and in what ways. And so that's why Paige is joining us today. And so through that, we can provide people like Paige and myself, because I'm on the receiving end too, free resources and free groups for support. And that is in all aspects. It's not just here's a bunch of reading materials. Here is a community, a family. Here is the Word of God. Here are ways that are non-toxic that you can start to incorporate, pray about it. It is just such a wonderful, holistic approach that Healing Strong brings to the table for many who have a chronic illness or don't. We're living for prevention. And so that is why we're doing these today on Giving Tuesday. So I'm going to pass it over to Susie, and she can kind of share with you what you can get for your donation, because we're also giving back to you.
That's right. Thank you, Maya. And hi, Paige. It's good to see your face.
Thank you.
So Healing Strong, this is Giving Tuesday. We're rounding the final turn, right? We have one more interview after this, but we wanted to speak with Paige today because Paige is a group leader. She's also been a member. She has just been with Healing Strong a good long while, and I love her story. And so I'm excited to share that. But Giving Tuesday not only represents giving, but also getting. Healing Strong has worked with a lot of people to put together a really great package for you that you're going to receive. So if you give today, just pull up the healingstrong.org page, any amount, you're going to get a web page you'll have recipes to download. Our books will be downloadable. You'll have one of our favorite Bible studies that we do. That's going to be in there. It's downloadable. And even Sherry Calbome has given us a book. Jane Barlow's given us a book. So all of that is there. It's free to you whenever you donate any amount. Then if you give $50 or more, Jane Barlow, who's the herbalist, she was on earlier today. You can go search her out on our Facebook page, but she is actually going to sign a book and send it to you for a gift of $50 or more. If you give $75 or more, Chris Wark has given us the permission to send out Square Ones plus Jane Barlow's book. So you can't, that's over $200 value. So, it's right around the Christmas season, the giving season. So you've got two gifts right there that you can give, and they are amazing. I hope you'll take the opportunity to look through them and really benefit from them. But Paige, I'm so excited you're here, and thank you. I know you are a busy homeschool mom, and you're also in the throes of a healing journey. And I want Healing Strong to hear from you. I want to hear your story, how you got involved with us. And then what I want to talk about is what happens in your groups, because a lot of people don't know. They say, well, what are these community groups and what do they do? And you have a really cool story about things that you do with your groups. So just share a little bit about how you got involved with Healing Strong first.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Well, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2018. And it was a very scary time. I didn't really know very many people. I had one other friend who had cancer just coincidentally at the same time that I did, a little bit older than me. And I was only 39, and I just really didn't know much. It just was filled with a lot of fear. And that was perpetuated just by the rush that the doctors were placing upon me. Just, this very typical story where they panic a little bit. And I just didn't really feel like I had a lot of time to make decisions. And so I had surgery a couple of weeks after my diagnosis. And then a few weeks after that, I started chemotherapy. And I really lacked peace in my spirit. it just didn't feel like that was the way that God had intended for me to get well. I didn't know very much about cancer at the time, so I wasn't even sure what other options I had, but I just knew that the idea of destroying my immune system to heal something didn't really make sense in my brain. So I started researching, and interestingly, when I was in high school, probably my least favorite subject was science. And now I have decided that biology and reading medical studies, scientific research is one of my favorite hobbies now. I kind of geek out on that. So that's kind of a funny turn of events in the last 4.5 years. But I just started researching, and it's amazing when I began to pray and just ask for the Lord to bring people into my life who could help me to gain some sort of knowledge, to do something besides what I was doing that would allow me to get well and would also provide me with that peace that I was really yearning for. And the Lord was so gracious. People kind of came out of the woodwork that mentioned things to me that I had never heard of before. And just the only way that he tends to work through a friend of a friend of a friend. I was put in touch with someone who had actually stage 4 colon cancer, and she had just purchased Chris's Square One program. And when you purchase, you are gifted a buddy pass. And she said, I was just praying about who I could give this buddy pass to when someone connected us. And she said, I think I was meant to give this to you. So like so many do, I binge watched Chris's Square One program. And immediately after just a couple of minutes of watching, I just knew that this was what felt right to me. The idea of feeding your body these delicious, nutritious foods, plant foods, using what God's given us to heal, the beautiful herbs like Jane Varlow was speaking about earlier today, just exercising, grounding, just the different supplements, all the different things that God's given us in his creation, sunlight even, to heal my body. Healing and bringing wholeness to my body felt better than the idea of poisoning. So unfortunately, this did take me a little while to find Chris and to learn this. So I was well into my chemotherapy treatments before I started learning all of this. But what was really amazing is that as I was learning, I was sharing this with my oncologist, and he was incredible. He was very open-minded. He didn't tell me any of the information that I was learning, but he didn't stop me from doing any of the things that I was doing that I incorporated into my healing. And I'm so grateful for that, because I know that's not the case for a lot of other people. They are sometimes told that they're not allowed to do anything besides what their oncologist tells them. And that would have been really difficult for me. So I'm grateful that as I was slowly learning, I was allowed to incorporate those into my chemotherapy protocol. And so getting to how I found HealingStrong, I had been praying for the hospital that I was getting my chemotherapy through had told me about a support group. And I just heard some rumblings about kind of the conversations that went on in that group. And it was pretty depressing. And I felt like I was seeing enough depressing things in the infusion room when I was getting treatment that I didn't want to feel more just dragged down by some of those conversations. And so I was just praying for a group that where I could meet other people who were on this journey that I was on, and who were maybe dabbling in alternatives to healing cancer, and people who could help me learn, tell me where to go for more information, help me understand these scientific papers I was reading where I understood at the time like every fourth or fifth word. And I really, really wanted something that was faith-based. And so one day I was just scrolling through Chris Beat Cancer, Chris's website, and I found an interview with you, Susie, that Chris did, and where you shared all about HealingStrong. And I just remember crying because I was so relieved that I found exactly what I had been praying for. The Lord led me to. And I was so excited. I went on immediately and searched HealingStrong's website to find a group in my area. And there was absolutely no group in Wisconsin. And I was so disappointed. And I said to my husband, I'm like, oh, I feel like God answered my prayer and led me to HealingStrong. And now there's not a group. And he said, well, why don't you just start one? Said,
Yay, husband.
He was like, duh, just start one. And I used to be a teacher in a public school. And so I, started other things, and I was homeschooling my children. So I was familiar with teaching, and HealingStrong makes it so easy. There's a 12-month guide that walks you right through exactly what you can teach every single month to your participants. You can tailor it for whatever fits best for you. And so I thought, wait, I think I can do this. And there was training videos to watch beforehand. I mean, now there's even way more resources. But at the time there was videos that you could go in and just watch on your own. And so I started a group.
Now tell me, how long ago was that you started your group? Was it just a couple of years?
3.5 years ago.
Man, that's so great. It's so great. I love that your husband's like, well, just start a group. And you did. And we actually we featured you at one of our group leader meetings this year, because we had heard of some of the wonderful things that you are doing very different with your group. And so I thought this would be a really great thing to profile when we're talking today. Could you give us a little insight into what happens into a HealingStrong group, and tell us some of the unique things that you're doing with your group that encouraged actually our other group leaders as well?
Absolutely. Well, my group is amazing. I absolutely love my group. They're like family to me. And so we've had, obviously, people come and go as people heal, or people are just learning about the group. But we have had this solid group of people almost since the beginning, at least since after our first year, but almost since the beginning. We've had a really solid group of people, and so that makes my group a little bit more unique. I'll talk about first kind of what a group meeting looks like, and then I'll talk about why our group is a little unique. And so I started doing things a little differently. Mm-hmm. So in our meetings, we gather, and usually, I almost want to invite people to come like at least a half an hour early, because we end up talking so long that we never get our meeting started exactly on time. There's so much catching up to do, and it's just so fun to see everyone and chat. And then we always pray before we get started, and we always have a snack, something new and healthy that I always have a recipe sitting out for, so people can look through, and everyone's on their own healing protocol. So, just wanted to try to be really respectful of what others feel that they would like to include in their diet of healing. So I have a recipe out so people can see exactly what's in it. And then copies for them to take. I always try to make something new so that everyone's leaving with a new recipe every week. And HealingStrong actually provides a ton of recipes, so you can use those. We've been going 3.5 years now, so I have a lot of my own recipes now that I use. I've exhausted the HealingStrong recipes. But we enjoy a snack together, tea, things like that. And then we get into whatever we're going to be learning about that night. We always have a different topic that we're learning about. And that's one thing I love about the meetings, is that we are always learning, and everyone comes with knowledge to share too. So in addition to the information that I'm able to share with the participants, they always share things with me that I didn't that I didn't know, that I'm learning for the first time. And it just, just different resources, different books, just websites to go to. It's so helpful. So everyone leaves with pages of notes. Usually there's handouts, things like that. And we spend time talking. People get a chance to share if they want to share any testimonies or anything that's going on in their life. We always offer opportunity for prayer requests that we can pray over. So that's kind of what we did. I went through the curriculum. It actually took us a little longer than the first year. We slowed down a few of the lessons to get in a little bit more depth. But then when we were done with that, we still had a pretty solid group of people that had been with us since the beginning. And I kind of thought it would be a little redundant to go through the curriculum again when we had just wrapped it up. So I started praying about what to do. And I decided to start, I actually proposed to my group, wanted to make sure they were all on board, doing what I called like field trips, where we would go to different places to learn about things, or go to different experts' homes to learn about things. And then also we would have guest experts I host my meetings at my house. So we'd have guest experts in my home to share their knowledge as well. And so one of the traditions we have, so we'll be coming up on this year, next month will be our 3rd annual whole food, plant-based Christmas potluck celebration. And so at that first one,
can I come?
Yes, I would love that. Please come. And so at the first one, I shared my idea with the group and they loved it. And I said, I really want this to be tailored to what you guys want to learn. So help me brainstorm. I had a list of things I wanted to learn about in the coming year. So we started generating a list, and I tried to get as many of the ideas that were shared with me as possible. I tried to find experts in my community or places to go, little small businesses or things like that, that had the knowledge that they could share with us. And then every Christmas we brainstorm for the next year. So some of the things that we have done is we had a master gardener. We went over to her house, and we're blown away by her garden. And she taught us so many of her tips and tricks of gardening. And, we learned a little bit that night too about why it's important to grow your own food, to be able to control the soil and what you're putting on your plants. So you're not spraying pesticides and things like that. So she taught us all about herbal gardening. Then we had that was in the spring, so people could actually plant a garden. And then in the fall, we went back and she taught us how to can and preserve the things that we had grown that summer.
Wow.
Some of us had so many vegetables, we didn't know what to do with them. So she helped us to be able to figure out how to can and preserve those. We also did a foraging for medicinal herbs. That was really fun. We went out to a forest and went around and saw all different kinds of herbs you could harvest, and learned how we could make tinctures and poultices and different things to use those herbs.
James somewhere is jumping up and down right now.
I know.
By her, so we could forage for some lomatium.
Yeah, you got to come this way.
Yes, not any growing in Wisconsin.
No.
We did maple syruping, which is, if you live in Wisconsin, is an amazing thing to do. So we learned how to tap maple trees and then boil the sap down and make maple syrup. We learned, one of our group participants, her daughter grows just incredible microgreens. And so she brought us over, we went to her house and she showed us her setup. And we learned how to grow all sorts of different microgreens. We all got to go home that night with greens as well. And so that was really inspiring for me, because now I've been growing my own microgreens since then. We had someone come and talk to us about essential oils and how to use those, add those into your healing protocol. We have done, just recently, we had a participant who taught us how to make nut milk, and then what to do with all of that pulp that you're left with. And she made just these delicious crackers and little cookies that would be appropriate for a healing protocol. There wasn't any sugar in them. They were absolutely delicious. So she taught us how to do that. We did a juicing versus smoothie night, and we talked about the difference between juicing and smoothies, the benefits that both can provide, as well as we did a bunch of sampling, share different recipes for some of our favorites. We had how to heal Lyme disease. There's a lot of Lyme disease in Wisconsin and other tick-borne diseases. And so we had a couple of gentlemen come and speak to us about ways that you can heal Lyme naturally. And goodness, what else? We also had recently, with the podcast, the I Am Healing Strong podcast just released yesterday. One of my amazing group participants, Carol Howard, her healing story. And so she shared with our group just this last month how she healed her cancer, peritoneal cancer, that no one else has survived beyond 2 years with. And she is a 6-year survivor, and she healed that naturally. So she walked us through her whole protocol. She brought all her stuff in and showed us all of it, how to do it.
She was also a nurse. She is also a nurse, a registered nurse. She's got family members that are medical doctors. So it was very interesting to listen to her protocol. Paige, so I'm hearing like you guys are doing a little bit of everything. You've been through the curriculum, and now you're getting out. I love it. So now you've learned, you've got a base, and now you're getting out and you're doing fun things that are actually, as adult learners, right? We learn by doing multiple ways for adult learners. So how fun is that? I'm so excited. So you guys that are listening, groups do various things, and it is so much fun. You could start your own group and start. I remember, Paige, I think you and I talked, and if I remember right, did we speak and you were talking about maybe doing it in your home and you weren't sure about it and you were kind of going back and forth, but I love that you're doing it in your home and that it's working out and you're bringing speakers in. So we have people that do it in their home. We've had people do it in an automobile workshop. We've had people do it in a realtor's, a realtor conference room. We do it in the library. I mean, there's so many different places, and juice bars. People just do it in so many different places. So I love that. And Paige, just that you are continuing to share your own story and your own journey with others and giving them hope through the Lord and through just healing education is so amazing. So Maya, what about you? And both of you are homeschoolers. So I want to just talk about this because I know a lot of I think that this is pretty amazing. So Paige has older kids that she also is homeschooling, and she's on a healing protocol. Maya as well has kids that she's homeschooling. I want to hear from each of you because I think homeschooling is an important thing that we all need to consider, especially those for young children. How has this journey of healing into wholeness affected your kids? Like, how do you involve them in what you're doing every day? And Maya, I know you involve those girls in a lot. They're serving you avocado toast while we're doing this today, right? But please do tell me. And Paige, I'll start with you. How do you include them?
That's such a great question. Yes, thank you. It's been fantastic because they are in the home 24, well, most of the time they're in our house. So they have been able to see how drastically I was able to change my life. And they have been able to learn along with me. So they have seen me change my diet. They have seen me get rid of plastics and use glass, get rid of all of our body care products, and mainly make our own, which they help with. They've seen me prioritize exercising, and they have been so supportive. My husband and kids are amazing. They have they changed everything with me, and they don't even complain about it. So they eat the same foods I'm eating. They weren't obviously juicing and doing all the extent they weren't drinking all those juices and doing all that, but they actually the part that was the biggest blessing, and I truly don't know how I would have done it without my children, is the juicing, because they would take turns. Every other day, one of them would be in charge of helping me, and they would help me watch all the produce and help me actually press all the juice, all the vegetables through the juicer. And then their least favorite task was helping me to clean the juicer, and just to get everything put in the jars. And there's many ways you can juice, but for me, I just did press all my juice in the morning. Just because with my busy schedule with my kids, I didn't have time to do it every hour. And so I really don't know how I would do that. They still to this day help me chop all of the vegetables. I have a giant salad at least once a day, sometimes twice, and then lots of vegetables in our dinner, and they help with all of the cooking. They are phenomenal cooks. So there's a lot of chopping. And what's so nice about homeschooling is that either we can be reading something for one of our subjects. One of the kids can be reading aloud while the other child and myself are prepping foods and cooking, or we can be listening to something in an audiobook that we need to do for school, and then we're all in the kitchen together. Mm-hmm. So it's just a great way to use our time. The kids are learning about what to do to stay healthy. They shake their head. They know all about it. That mom talks about health a lot.
What a legacy. That's so amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Maya, how about you?
So what it's done for me as far as when I pick books and curriculum and that kind of stuff is being way more intentional on what we're focusing on, because for me, I'm not healing, but we're living more intentionally because of the baby step approach we're taking to reduce that toxin load. And so I'm able to include them into what I'm learning and what I'm doing. I mean, I know when we were talking to Chris, he told that story of forgiveness and that woman recognized his voice. That's my girls. Because I just listen to a lot of stuff, and I let them listen to it. I let it fill the air. So they start to recognize voices and believe things that I'm putting out there for us to talk about. And so the dialogue is crucial, because you don't want them to start to create their own interpretation, but it opens up the lines of communication, because the Word of God is the ultimate foundation. And so if the world is saying one thing, we're telling you to do something for your health, or this is what this is, and that's that, what does the Word of God say? And so what does He give us to be healthy? And so we can really get deep with health in a new way that they can't get in a classroom, and we get to do at home in the comfort of our own walls. And because I know them, because everyone knows her kids, you know how to communicate to them, you know how to kind of engage them and approach them, you know their personalities. There's just so many benefits. It's such a beautiful gift, because health takes on a whole new meaning when you're teaching them at home in this holistic way with the Word of God.
Yeah. I'll just throw in there. So our 6th grader was super sick. He had Addison's disease, and he was in the hospital many times. And I had healed my cancer doing the Gerson therapy, but I really kind of compartmentalized my healing. My boys, they were a part of it. They helped me wash the carrots and do things like that as well. Jeff always did the coffee breaks for me, but it wasn't until I had my aha moment with our youngest son that I thought, well, I can take him out of school and put him on a strict protocol, and then we'll go at it from that direction. So I did it for that reason, to help his body heal. But you're right, there were so many other things that happened as a result of that. Now he juices, he does smoothies up at college. People come to him when they're not feeling well. So it really does matter when you include your kids in this. And if there is a way, and you're wondering, well, should I homeschool? Should I not? I personally have benefited from having one in school or one homeschooling, and hands down, if there's a way of bringing your kids home and helping them, teach them from home, and doing the healthy eating and teaching them all the principles of wholeness, right, as part of their curriculum, it sure has made a difference in my life. And I know both of you. So thank you for sharing that. What a wonderful message, isn't it? A wonderful message to the kids. Well, Paige, is there anything else that you'd like to share with the community that maybe we missed?
I just want to say that HealingStrong is an organization that I've never seen an organization like this one. It is so unique, and I actually find it difficult to explain to people. And I think it's because until you get involved and you see how much this community really genuinely loves each other, and wants to provide healing and hope for everybody. Your heart, Susie, and the heart of the people who help to make HealingStrong happen is so genuine. And it's hard to explain how many different resources there are, how much support there is, how much you long to get this message into the hands of people who are at that crisis point where they get a cancer diagnosis or some other autoimmune disease or anything else they might be battling with their health. And it's hard to put into words until you've experienced it, to be able to reach out at any time and know that literally within a matter of minutes, often I will get a response from somebody. If there's a prayer concern that I have, I remember contacting one time and I was just desperate to find a holistic practitioner, and immediately there was an immediate response. And I don't know anyone in your area, but I will, we'll try to figure out who we can connect you with. It's just, I felt so alone in the beginning. And when you get plugged into HealingStrong, you make one post on the Facebook page and you've got, 20 people answering with exactly what you needed. You don't have to spend weeks and months trying to figure something out on your own. And really for me, what I think is most powerful is that HealingStrong provides resources, mostly free of charge, almost exclusively free of charge, that heals body, soul, and spirit. And I know that so often when people start to go down the route of an alternative treatment for cancer or any other kind of disease, they tend to focus a lot on physical healing, which I totally get. That was my intention in the beginning as well. But HealingStrong, of course, emphasizes healing your body, but also your soul and your spirit. And sometimes people will do everything, quote, right, and then physically, but they will forget that they need to deal with maybe some unforgiveness or some other mental trauma, past trauma maybe that they've experienced. And especially what can get unfortunately left out of a healing protocol is healing spiritually and getting that relationship with Jesus, and reconnecting. If you have in the past had a relationship with the Lord, sometimes it's just reconnecting. Sometimes it's just that you've fallen away from reading his word and not getting that daily bread. So HealingStrong with Around the Word in 80 Days provides that. They have incredible Bible studies. I've used them with my own group and myself personally. They are so healing. And I think if you try to separate it out and only heal one of those areas, no, you're not going to thrive. And you might not even get well at all. You might have checked off 2 of those boxes, but if you don't get that final box checked, your healing might not might not come. And so I'm just so grateful for HealingStrong. I'm so grateful for the community that it gives me. Like I said, this is like an extended family to me. So I just really encourage people. There's so many places that you can give, but you will not ever regret giving to HealingStrong.
Thank you so much, Paige. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's, if you were to go into a doctor's office to heal, they would do one thing, right? But we don't do one thing. We focus on the whole being, and we want to encourage you to walk the road that God has for you, and that your road was different than my road, Paige. And Maya's healing road through her mom's passing has been different, and so we really do try to provide wraparound support that's going to help get you to where, God is leading you. So thank you for recognizing that and for saying that. That's really sweet. And anyway, we are so excited. We're wrapping up our Giving Tuesday, and just want to let you know, again, if you go on healingstrong.org, you can give any amount. You're going to get something back. And we have a lot of funds we need to raise for next year. We're going to make that announcement at 7 p.m. tonight. Like I said, today kicks off our year-end giving, and this has been an incredible day. We'll let you all know what we've raised today as well. And Paige, thank you for being here. It's so good to see your face, and thank you for all you're doing with your group in Wisconsin. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been
grateful. Lots of fun. I was going to ask you if this is a once a month thing that you're.
Yes, good question. Yes, we meet once a month.
Yeah, because every group is a little different in that way too. Awesome.
So true. All right. Well, Maya, thank you. And all of you on, Mary, Marin, Janet, all of you, and those that were able to join. Marilyn, we're glad you were on. And Sue, thank you for joining us. Sue actually leads Around the Word in 80 Days at 2, and she's from the UK. It's been wonderful to get to know her too. And so many. So we just really appreciate it. Hi, Denise. You guys, thank you so much. And we will see you at 7 in just a few minutes. We'll wrap up today, and we'll give you the amount that we've raised, and we'll let you know the big announcement for 2023. Okay? So I hope you come back. Bye.
All right.
Thank you.